Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, should the Cavs get credit for coming back against the Raptors, or did Toronto choke? Plus, Rob Parker joins the show to discuss LeBron's supporting cast. And would the Patriots really have gone all in to draft Baker Mayfield? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. The Raptors led for the entire game and still lost game one to the Cavs in overtime. We're joined by Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris. Good morning.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Was last night more about the Cavs or the Raptors?
Raptors. The Raptors, they couldn't beat Big Brother. They outplayed them all game, and when it got time to shut the door, close the deal, beat your dad for the first time ever, they just couldn't do it. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming. You missed your last 11 shots, including 3 at the rim. Now, contested, look, no doubt, contested, but Valanciunas, he missed a lot of little gimmies, but still, you got to convert that. And then I even can go to with 2.5 minutes left, and they call a timeout, and then you get a 5-second call out of a timeout.
They did?
Like, that stuff is, to me, that's just mental. And they couldn't get over the hump. LeBron, I think, is in their head. They're not ready for prime time. This is what I expected. Cavs in 6, I said. Toronto is a great regular season team because they play hard, they're well coached, they've got good talent, but they don't have superstars. And at this time of year, for the most part, barring a few outliers here and there, you need superstars to win.
Multiple.
And they don't have it.
Multiple.
They even reached for a new closer, a former undrafted free agent named Fred VanVleet, who hurt his shoulder so badly last night, he had to sit for a while with the big ice pack, and they still put him in to take the 2 biggest shots of the game into regulation, end of overtime, and he missed both of them. They're hoping, well, maybe if DeMar can't do it and Kyle can't do it, maybe VanVleet can do it against Big Brother, and he couldn't do it.
No, it was...
I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a guy have 2 all-stars, and you let a guy that's a role player take the last 2 shots, one in overtime and one in regulation. That's their team. It's been working so far. Hey, have no problem with that. I agree. It's more about the baby dinosaurs. They don't believe they can beat LeBron James, and as you mentioned, they tried to shut the door, and LeBron stuck his foot in there. Talk about what y'all doing in there. You know, you be playing around.
I'm not sure even LeBron stuck his foot. I just think they stepped on their own feet. They shot themselves in the foot.
But here's the thing moving forward. LeBron got 87 points of support last night. He averaged 60 in Indiana. So was this an anomaly, an outlier, or this a sign of things to come? Do we think we're going to see this from?
I hope it was.
Well, if it is,
I hope it's a sign of things to come. If it is, they will sweep.
They will sweep them.
If it is, they will also win the conference finals pretty handily.
Right. If the role play, because look, you and I both, everybody knows at this table, the likelihood of LeBron James shooting 40% again is not very good.
No.
But if you're going to...
In fact, it just won't happen.
If you let LeBron James be efficient as he normally is, be it regular season or postseason, and he's going to get this kind of production from his supporting cast, no one in the Eastern Conference is beating him.
Here's the thing. JR, you just can't count on. I mean, he had 20 last night. He might have 20 for the rest of the series.
Like 5 out of 6 threes.
He was great. I mean, when he plays that way, I really like the Cavs. Kyle Korver has been very good in these playoffs, but I'm not going to count on him for 19 tonight. Like, who can I point to? Tristan has been great the last 2 games, but am I getting that out of him every night? And Kevin Love's just been very disappointing. Like, I hate to say it, I don't think I can count on this from the Cavs every night, and that's going to be the problem. But LeBron, to your point, he was worn down, I think, yesterday. And if I were the Cavs in Game 2, I would seriously think about maybe playing him about 35 minutes. And if we lose, we lose. But, I mean, try to make those minutes count.
Right.
But I want to get him rested because I don't think he was himself. He still was really good, but he wasn't quite himself yesterday.
Shannon Sharp, what did I predict before this series started? What did I predict?
You said the Cavs would sweep the baby dinosaur.
I said sweep.
Yep.
He laughed at me, and he said I had a hidden agenda. I'm trying to put more pressure on LeBron. I'm not. I told you I don't respect the Raptors. In fact, in my head last night, I always think of them, you know, the Lone Ranger and Tonto, right?
Do.
It's like LeBron's the Lone Ranger, and they're the Tonto Raptors. That's how they come across. Seriously, they're the Tonto Raptors because they're just Tonto to the Lone Ranger.
Right.
But they have been. That's now 9 out of 11 games that LeBron has beaten him in the postseason. And again, I bring up this stat that Toronto, this great regular season dynamo, is now in its last 12 game ones of playoff series. They're 1-11, and they're 1-7 in their last 8 at home. That's horrendously bad.
Awful.
It's what Peyton Manning used to not be able to do in Indy when he would have the top seed or the second seed in the playoff tournament, and then they would fall out in the first round. So that's the equivalent of this. But Peyton, to his credit, finally broke through and won 2 Super Bowls. And I'm not sure this team is going to break through and do anything. Because if you can't on this night, in which LeBron goes 1 for 6 from the free throw line and 1 for 8 from 3, and he goes 3 for 15 in the fourth quarter in overtime. And there were times in the overtime where I picked Cleveland to win last night, so I'm rooting for LeBron, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? You know, like he just dribble. They ISO him. He dribbled.
And that play at the end of regulation.
It was just terrible.
That was horrible.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that was
what are you doing? So the door isn't just open; it's swung as wide open as you can swing it.
Just walk through it.
And they couldn't do it. And then the flurry, it just summed up the Toronto Raptors at the end of regulation. They get 5 shots, starting with their new closer, Van Vliet. He misses the 3. And then DeRozan misses a pretty easy little tip that just lips out. And then C.J. Miles comes in and misses tip. And then Valanciunas tips it. He airballs a tip. He knocks it completely over the rim to the other side. How can you do it? Any one of those falls, we're having a different conversation.
No.
Right?
And here's the thing. I think everything we're saying, I think is driven home even more so with the Raptors after last night. You came off a nice series win over the Wizards team that's essentially as talented as they are.
Yeah.
Great backcourt, too. You had the best record in the Eastern Conference. You're 30-1 at home when you lead after 3 quarters.
Right.
Cleveland's tired. Then all you said about LeBron not being at his best, and you still don't get it done. This is 3 straight times now that Cleveland's beaten them, counting the regular season with their new squad. This is over. This might be a sweep.
And Shannon, I got another prediction.
What?
Game 2, I believe you're going to see an appearance made by Jordan Clarkson and Rodney Hood, who have not shown up yet.
No.
And by the way, Larry Nance Jr. didn't even see the light of play last night.
Yeah, he should. The way he's been playing.
Right? But Tristan Thompson
that's my guy.
He's playing like that guy used to play in the finals.
Yeah.
That guy's pretty good. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying he's a star, but he's high energy. He's sly smart. He plays the angles. He's Rodman-esque, and he can – listen, that play he made with 2 minutes left in overtime, LeBron had to shoot a crazy shot at the end of the clock and air balls, and Tristan goes and tracks it down and spins in the lane and makes a left-handed hook.
Yep.
Do you know how hard that shot is over Valanciunas?
If you notice the Cavs, though, when the rubber needs to meet the road.
Watch it. LeBron misses the air ball. Tristan, look at this spin.
Yeah,
how hard is that shot?
That's a nice move.
And do you realize those were the winning points in the game? That got him to 113, and that stood up. Go ahead.
If you notice, when the rubber needs to meet the road, LeBron James is going to ride with his guys. Give me Tristan. Give me JR.
Sure.
Give me Kyle Korver. Give me Kevin Love. Now, they subbed Kevin Love out on the last play for Jeff Green because they needed defense, and Jeff did a great job. But LeBron is a guy that I know what these guys are supposed to be able to do, but I know what these guys have done. And as long as he has confidence, he says, hey, I trust the guys. The guys just miss shots because it's easy to get frustrated. I couldn't be LeBron because I'd be, make the shot. You got one job. Make the shot, Kevin Love. Make the shot, JR.
LeBron has been more complimentary of these teammates in the last, 2 months, maybe since the trade, than I've seen him. Not that he's always been bad, but there's times where, you can tell he's like, man, look, these dudes got to step up or I need help or something. Right. But he's been nothing like that. I don't know if he's reading what
he said, I'm not throwing nobody. Y'all know. He said, y'all know me better than that. I ain't throwing my teammates under the bus.
I see you wearing the Cavs team suit. Is that? That's the suits they wear in the game.
You see the high water pants? Like on Tom, right? On Tom.
Theirs are up to about here. They went a little too high.
You need to go with the white shirt, though.
A white shirt?
The white shirt.
Okay,
and the sweater.
I'm next week. Next week I'm
Did Bron send that to you?
People be think I be showing favoritism to LeBron up here.
Yeah.
And I don't do that. I'm objective right down the middle.
Wait, aren't you the same guy who picked against LeBron last night?
I did.
Yeah, I was shocked at that.
Because
He didn't like that.
I was looking pretty good after the first quarter, huh? And then who knew that the Toronto was going to give up 38 second quarter points to let the Cavs back in it? And that's what happens. When you got the baby dinosaur, they got to close the door, Skip. You get a team down like that. Because we've seen, you remember the first time Cleveland goes to Toronto, they get down early, and the next thing you know, it's 38, they down by 30 before the half. And LeBron just chilling the rest of the game. So
you know what else? LeBron, even though he wasn't at his best, he guarded Kyle Lowry in the fourth and overtime and held him to 3 points.
Good.
Like,
good.
He still, look, he didn't shoot well, and obviously he was horrible from the free throw line. But he didn't play, I mean, he played a good game.
He still gave you 13 and 11.
And he hit the big shot.
That's what I keep telling you, Skip. What LeBron James' value is just not, a lot of people, if they don't score, that's all the value they can add. Some people, if they don't rebound, that's all the value they can add. But my guy, I keep telling you for stretches, he can sit in that chair for a hot sec. As Kyle Lowry.
Well, I kept telling you in the previous series, take Oladipo for a stretch.
He did.
Just take him.
He did.
Just try to take him out of the game.
And Depot couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Got Depot go. He working out right now, so he want to get close to LeBron.
He's not ever going to get close.
Whoa! So what you said about Bron? Because everybody say he's a top 3 player right now.
Yeah.
That's what everybody be saying.
Well, I just say he's 3 and 5 in the finals, but that's all.
Say whatever you want to. He's still going to be on Mount Rushmore.
No.
He coming to the right.
He's still got to
There is, and I'm not in this camp, but there does seem to be a growing group of people saying he's the GOAT now. I think that's growing. I don't know. I'm looking on Twitter, and I'm getting, and I don't say that.
But first mistake.
Whatever. Oh, like you ain't on your Twitter.
I love Twitter, but I don't take what they say on Twitter.
No, I'm just saying, though, more and more people are starting to say that.
More and more people.
Just
I don't
random
know,
folks.
Just people who follow you.
I don't know, maybe a lot of people from Akron and suburban Cleveland or something.
Yeah,
wait a second.
I feel like that sentiment is growing. I don't agree.
Last night he was the lowercase GOAT, like G-O-A-T, GOAT of the game.
He did. Think about it. We talking about a man that shot 40% and had a triple-double. You voted for a guy to win MVP last year, shooting 42% every game. This man had one game like that.
Shannon, if he just made 3 more free throws, we'd have a whole nother conversation because it would have been over much sooner than it was over.
What?
He shot 1 for 6 from the free throw.
You ain't said nothing about that night he shot 15 for 15.
I gave him props.
Well, he's going to have to change his style again.
He's going to come back to the mean. Because he was great, 82% against Indiana, but it's coming back to 72, 73%.
He's so once he gets into a rhythm of making them, he gonna make them. But if he miss a couple early,
you know what? The ref got in his head. He finally called him for stepping over the line. You can't do that. He's going to have to go back to Kyle Korver and say, let's go to routine number 569.
As long as the ball go in.
Yeah.
Clutch. You see that clutch turnaround jumper from 15?
That was a good one.
It's easy for it to go in when you're 2 feet over the line.
I just hope the Cavs don't take their foot off the gas.
Because
they have a tendency.
I want LeBron to play big minutes and play hard in game 2 and get this over with.
I would hate that. Because, get rid of them, get your rest. Because the other series is going to be long, I think.
They'll have plenty of rest. It's going to be a nice little sweep.
All right. Look at you pulling for LeBron.
No, she ain't
I'm not pulling.
LeBron.
I'm just.
Her team's gone.
That's just facts.
Her team had a cup of coffee. Her team had a cup of coffee. They like this year.
She not surprised.
Did you hear what Pat Riley said about their center?
More credit than that.
Did you see what he said about Whiteside?
Thanks for joining us.
I don't know how Whiteside go back there.
No mercy. Hey everyone, Joy Taylor here, and before the show moves along, I want to tell you about an exciting new show. It's called the Fox Sports Daily Brief, available only on Facebook Watch. We all know everyone is busy, but the Fox Sports Daily Brief takes the biggest stories in the world of sports and delivers them to you in one video on Facebook. It's all you need to know about sports from the biggest stars at Fox Sports. So log on to Facebook and search Fox Sports Daily Brief and look for new episodes weekdays. Now back to the show. No mercy. The Cavs won Game 1 in overtime last night, and for once it was not LeBron James carrying the team. He was just 12 for 30 from the field, but J.R. Smith scored 20 and Kyle Korver added 19. After the game, LeBron said, quote, "My teammates were unbelievable tonight." We're joined now by Rob Parker. Welcome, Rob.
What's happening? Joy, you look beautiful this morning.
Well, thank you, Rob.
What is that about?
Yeah, exactly.
I hadn't seen her in person in a while, and
When last time you saw me and Skip?
it's been a while.
Oh, exactly. You'll say, "Oh, Skip, that's a nice suit there,
Shannon,
Skip.
you look beautiful today."
You look really beautiful."
Thank you, Rob.
Way to go, Joel.
Shannon's jealous that you're not complimenting
I
his suit.
see, my goodness.
It's showing. Rob, does LeBron have enough help to win the East?
Of course he has enough help. He has enough help by default. It has nothing to do with his teammates or what's going to happen. You know this. First of all, last night, Toronto was so awful last night that I think they started building a wall north of the border to keep them in because that was the biggest choke job I have seen since the Atlanta Falcons choked against the Patriots.
Wow.
That's how bad that was last night.
That bad?
It was that bad.
Wow.
And I'm going to say this. Skip, you know this. And I've said this before it started. They won't go 12-1 like they did last year to get into the finals. They're going to go 12-6, 12-7. They're going to lose games along the way because it's a flawed team and there's not enough guys there. Right. But still, you can't beat LeBron 4 out of 7. I don't care about these other teams that are in the way. The Raptors, this is why nobody respects them. And we've seen this movie. Great regular seasons. They lay eggs in the playoffs. Boston's missing their big guy in Kyrie. If Kyrie was playing,
Hayward's out
or Hayward too, right? Maybe I would say, oh, well, they could put up a fight. And even in Philly's case, when I like Simmons and I like Embiid and I like those young guys, they're just not ready, not yet, to beat LeBron 4 out of 7. So do they have enough? Yes, they have enough to get by. It'll be a struggle. There'll be nights when you shake your head and look at them and go, this isn't a really good team, and they just have LeBron. LeBron has to be on maximum effort just to be able to get this team to win. Last night he was fortunate because some of his teammates finally showed up. Even Tristan Thompson, who you almost forget can play. You know what I mean? You watch last night.
Hell, you forgot he could play.
No, right. And then you watch last night, and the guy's making all kinds of plays, putting in baskets, doing what he needs to do. So will they get by? Yes. Does he have enough? Absolutely.
Yet at the trade deadline, you said that the new help was being dramatically overrated.
I still feel that way. I'm not saying you heard what I just said. Those guys, it's by default because the other teams are flawed. It's not about Clarkson or Hill or those guys. And Nance didn't even play last night. So it's not about those 4 guys who they got at the deadline. It's about trying to defeat LeBron James 4 out of 7. It can't be done. Not yet. It cannot be done until he gets to the finals and plays a real team in the Warriors.
If they play like this, then yes, it's over. But are you going to tell me this is going to be the norm moving forward, that JR and Tristan and Kyle Korver? Now, Jeff Green, I think, averaged about 10 or 11 points for the season. Last series, he didn't give us really anything. So if this is going to be the norm moving forward, yes, they will, because they have the best player and their role players are going to play like this, they will absolutely come out of the East. But I can't put no stock in it because I haven't seen them play like this enough to believe that they can consistently play like this.
But what about the competition that he would have to face? I mean, after last night, you can't have any confidence about Toronto.
It's one game.
Really?
No,
it's not. Toronto has a long history of what they did last night. We've seen this before.
It all depends. Now, I do not believe that LeBron James will struggle from the field shooting the ball like this, Skip. So if he doesn't struggle like this, he doesn't need this kind of production. He just needs to get some production. The bench scored. Now, the strength of Toronto is their bench. Cleveland's bench outscored them. So if Cleveland's bench is going to win, because I think LeBron is always going to give the starting 5 an offense, going to give the starters a nod. If the bench is going to play like this, yeah, the Cleveland can go very, very far. But I haven't seen enough to say, well, yeah, this is the new Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't believe it. It's just one game. Toronto, they're upset. Little baby dinosaurs will come back. They're going to put up a better fight, Joy. But
I think Barney would have put up a better fight than the Raptors last night.
So you're getting pushed back into a corner in which you're going to have to keep rooting for the Raptors because you keep giving them respect that they do not deserve. I said sweep, Cleveland sweeps before this thing started. I said Cleveland would win Game 1, and they were a 6.5-point underdog in Game 1. And I don't know how they did it, but they won it. They won it because Toronto couldn't. It was as simple as that. Toronto had 1,000 opportunities to win game one. They're not capable. They're still Toronto.
Was that big country at the rim who missed those three?
Valanciunas.
Big country played in Memphis.
He tips it completely over the rim. It's a tip to win the game. He airballed a tip. Is that possible?
Yeah. He and Porter, they struggled with layups. They struggled with layups last night. Valanciunas missed one.
Yeah.
Jacob Portal. He missed another one.
Yeah.
Pirtle. He missed another point-blank layup. But
do you realize, we haven't even talked about this, do you realize that a rookie guarded LeBron for much of that night, that Anunoby from Indiana, their first-round pick, but he's later in the first round? Do you realize that's who was on LeBron much of the night and certainly was on LeBron in the fourth quarter and overtime, in which LeBron went 3 for 15 and often played, by his standards, pathetic basketball? And still, the winner is Cleveland. Yeah. And the winner of Game 2 is going to be Cleveland, even though you're going to root for Toronto because you want credibility on Toronto's side, because you want to say, well, look, it was a worthy opponent, right?
Whoa. Hold on. They're the number 1 seed. And doesn't that mean something?
And by the way, they've already been posted again as a 6.5-point favorite in Game 2.
Vegas going to keep betting until they get their money?
Yeah. Will you give me 6.5 in Game 2? Thank you very much.
I give you 2.
And what about Lowry, the bad decisions he made? Did you the five after calling a timeout with 2 seconds left, you remember that? And then he can't get the ball inbounds and get a 5?
That's LeBron playing that Hawking defense. Yeah. Kyle Lowry's how tall? 5'11". LeBron 6'9". He can't see over him. He don't want to burn that last time out. So you take the 5 seconds. Thank you very much. We're going back down here and get us a bucket.
So the point is that you don't want to hear, because you want built-in excuses just in case the King has another off night. The King has plenty enough help to get through the Raptors. He had plenty enough help to get through the Pacers, even though it took 7 games. I don't think he has enough help because I just don't think they're good enough. This is where we go a different
way, okay.
But I don't think they're good enough as an overall basketball team to beat the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, maybe I'm a little nervous about what Boston might continue to do to them, because Boston is a really well-coached basketball team with mental toughness and guts that I haven't seen in a long, long time. So
that first game against Philly, don't you think that kind of exposed them? I think a lot of people thought Philly was going to go in there. They don't have their 2 stars. This should be.
They didn't have their 3 stars. They didn't have Jaylen Brown.
And Jaylen Brown. You should win that game. I mean, that's a blow if you're Philly.
You get outshot from the 3-point line 17-5.
Yeah,
you're going to have trouble. You're going to lose at Boston. So Game 2 is huge, just away after, what was it, game you lost? The Heat beat them in Game 2 and punched them right in the mouth, got physical with them, sort of Pat Riley'd them, and they went on to Miami and won Game 3 and Game 4.
But you still will not address the elephant in the room. Kevin Love is averaging 9 points a game, and he's the second best player on the Cavs. He's making $25 million a year. Can you explain that, Mr. Rob Parker?
Yeah, I can. If LeBron didn't run Kyrie out of town, he'd be all right. Kyrie, it still comes back to that.
Kyrie wanted to go on his own.
No. He found out that LeBron was trying to trade him and didn't like it.
LeBron didn't try to trade nothing.
He did.
LeBron was on the phone.
That's the real story.
LeBron was on the phone with Dan Gilbert.
He wanted Chris Paul, Skip.
No,
you know it. That's the story. Skip, you know that's the story.
It wasn't about trading. It was just that Kyrie just got tired of playing and living with LeBron and the drama.
He wanted to be his own man. Yes, he wanted to be his own man. And LeBron said, Dan, do not trade him. Bring him to camp. And whatever the issue is that Kyrie and I have, I can assure you we can work it out.
Kyrie said he wasn't going to camp if he was still on the roster.
And he said he would have surgery. Can you tell the people why Kyrie Irving is not playing right now?
He has surgery.
Like my grandma said, boy, there's power in the tongue. It can bring on life or death situations. Not in all cases, but be careful what you talk about.
So, Shannon Sharp, your team is way better than you give it credit for, because clearly you do have LeBron James, but you also have a J.R. Smith who is capable of just shooting the lights out, and he did that for Toronto.
For you and for the other team.
Okay, but the 5th 3 that he made last night was right in the face of the Raptors, because he shot it right in front of their bench. You don't think that was a psychological
and he turned around,
dagger? He turned around and glared at all of them. And then Kyle Korver is as deadly a three-point shooter as there is left in this tournament. Yeah. And that includes Steph Curry, because when Kyle Korver goes, it's like he's shooting free throws. I'm serious.
And the thing about it is, it's so pure, it doesn't even touch the net.
It's just effortless.
Did you see the way the ball goes down? It's almost like it goes between the net without touching it.
Kyle Korver shot the ball 17 times. That's his most field goal attempts in 10 years. So LeBron said, I'm going to feed you. LeBron said, hey, tonight I'm just going to try to get, I'm just going to try to get.
Most attempts in 10 years.
And by the way, he missed 2 open threes that he could shoot like underhand.
And then he comes back off the pick by that double T set for him from 27 and switched nothing but net. And then he's wide open in the corners, the short porches, which is he's the best.
Whoa. We got accidents galore today. It's okay.
I talked about Skip.
Yeah.
See?
Now my suit really going to be tight.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as you didn't get any on my suit, I'm all right.
In your
You're right. You're right, Joe.
Right here.
I don't know why I didn't listen to
I
you,
don't
Joe.
know why everyone doesn't just listen
What
to me. I'm
proof
always
is
right.
that? I can smell it over here.
Damn.
What is it, like
That's
86 proof?
That's that grain.
Is it?
That's that grain.
Skip, I don't know, but I think I just got drunk from that fella.
You can like keep some towels up here or something.
What still did you get that out of?
That's from straight out of Georgia. That's that Georgia shine.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's moonshine for you.
Joy, I done made a mess up here.
Yeah, you're okay. So
As long as it's not on the computer.
I have a very hopeful prediction for you in Game 2.
What?
We are going to have a sighting, a Jordan Clarkson sighting, and an I'm So Hood sighting. Watch.
I haven't sung
and
that song
enjoy.
in so long.
Yeah, just
I don't
watch
forget.
and enjoy. They'll get their chances. They will get their shots because Toronto is so LeBron conscious. All those other guys get shots. That's why JR was getting shots last night.
So Cleveland will go up 2-0. You're going to say those two guys.
No,
are
Skip,
powerless?
it's not about getting the shots. It's about making the shots. Yes, eventually they're going to come. They're going to have to come with the double team because LeBron will shoot better from the floor. He will start driving the ball, and here they come. Will they make the shots? They had the shots in Indy. They just didn't make those shots.
Yeah, Rodney Hood is playing out of control. He just needs to calm down and slow down and stroke it. Just stroke it. Because, hey, when he was in Utah, he would come into games and make 8
no
threes.
pressure. Ain't no pressure in Utah.
I know. That's true. He'll slow down, and you'll be down with Rodney. You're going to be singing that song before this is over.
I'm so hood.
Yeah.
I just cleaned my house yesterday.
Yeah. Well, now you got to.
Did it get on your fancy phone case?
Nah,
You know what? You just brought me new candy too.
I did. Yeah.
It's all ruined?
He spilled. It's ginger tea in here. He spilled it on the candy.
So,
before.
Shannon, in the end, I want to know, will LeBron help the help? Because he
Skip,
can't
don't do
shoot
that.
1
Skip,
for
don't do
6
that.
from the
Skip,
free throw
don't do
line.
that.
Seriously.
The man had
1 for 6?
The man had one off night.
1 for 6.
One off night, Skip. Is the man entitled to one bad night?
Yep, he is. But the 1 for 6, you got to fix.
And think about what we're saying. We're saying the man had a bad night, in which he had 26, 13, and 11, and he had a bad night.
For him, it wasn't bad. You would admit.
Russell Westbrook won the MVP, shooting 42% from the field. He won the MVP. LeBron James, we're talking about he had a bad night. He shot 40% with a triple-dub. But that ain't none of my business, Rob. I don't even know why we talking. Jordan, that wasn't a question Joe asked me.
You do realize that Miss Triple-Dub has lived with Russell Westbrook for 2 full years? Mm-hmm. He averaged that for 2 full years?
And what he got him? One more playoff win than last year.
Yeah.
One more. That's what you got. You got more help, and you lost more.
He doesn't have enough help.
Huh?
What?
That team didn't go together from
Who's
day
that guy
one. It
who-
struggled
Paul
all year.
George.
Wait, the artist who used to be.
Don't do that,
known
Skip.
as
Paul George
Carmelo?
is good.
Oh, yeah.
Carmelo got Melo. Y'all don't want to thought Melo was going to be Kyle Korver. When has Melo ever played off the ball a catch and shoot guy? He's a ball dominant one-on-one ISO player.
That's why that never was going to work, those guys together.
They traded for him.
No, I know. That's why.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. They had Kevin Durant. Why does everybody, we're going to see if Paul George resigns. Why does everybody that plays there tries to leave their first chance they get? Can you tell me that?
No disrespect, Skip, but it is Oklahoma City.
Oh, Kevin Durant spent 9 years in
well,
I like it there.
Thank you for that transition, Rob. Thanks for joining us.
No mercy.
The Warriors beat the Pelicans last night, but Charles Barkley was apparently not a fan of Draymond Green's performance. Draymond got into it with Rajon Rondo late in the first half. Then at halftime, Barkley said about Draymond, quote, "I want to punch him in the face so bad." After the game, Draymond responded. Let's take a listen.
I think a lot of guys talk on TV, stand behind a microphone and a TV screen. Fact of the matter is, if you feel that strongly about something, he's seen me a million times. If he feel that strongly about it, then punch me in my face when you see me. If you're not going to punch me in my face when you see me, then shut up. It's no different than somebody sitting behind a computer screen tweeting, "I'll knock you out," and you never see him in life. Well, he's seen me a bunch of times, and he'll see me again this year. Punch me in the face when you see me, or if not, no one cares what you would have done. You old, and it is what it is. So if you ain't going to punch me when you see me, then stop talking about it. Period. drop the mic.
Shannon, whose side are you on, Draymond's or Barkley's?
Draymond. Absolutely, 1,000% on Draymond Green's side. Skip, I'm not trained in journalism. I don't have a journalism degree. I didn't have a degree in public policy. But the one thing that I know is that I'll report a story, I'll talk about a story, but I won't become a part of the story.
You know the ground rules.
Yes.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley allowed himself to become a part of the story.
Yeah.
Now, he said, if Charles would have said, you know, back in my time, Draymond doing all this talking, I'd have put a hard foul on him. You're talking about it in the context of a ball game doing a normal basketball play. But to say someone should punch the man, which is not a basketball play, and then to take it a step further says, I want to punch him in the face. That's over the lines.
Yeah.
And Charles knows better than this. Charles has gotten too old. He's not going to punch anybody. Because if he wanted to punch somebody, there are ample times he could have punched Charles Oakley. Hey, as a matter of fact, he can go punch Oak right now. If he want Oak number, I give it to him, and he can go punch Oak. And I tell you, Oak will show up wherever he wants to show up at, and he can punch him.
And Oak will punch back.
First of all, he ain't gonna punch Oak.
Yeah,
First of all,
and nobody wants those problems.
no. First of all, he don't even want to be in a room with Oak. But Skip, why would you do this? Why would I sit back, do what I do, and then say, man, if that was me, I would slap such and such. I want to punch this. I want to punch. Why? And I get it. That's what they do, and they do a very good job on TNT. It's raw. They give it to you unfiltered. But Charles stepped across the line on this. He didn't walk up to the line. He stepped over because he made it personal. He says, not in the context of a basketball play giving him a hard foul. He wants to take it to the streets, and I want to punch him in the face. Charles, let that go, man. You're big. You're too big for this. I get the point. I get what you're trying to say, that Draymond runs up in everybody's face. He's always getting intertwined. He's tangling, mixing up with everybody. If someone were to hard foul him or something, it would go away. But to take it to the step where someone should punch him in the face, or I want to punch him in the face, it's the I that I have a problem with.
So I do agree with one thing you just said. Inside the NBA isn't just a good show, it's a great show.
Yes.
And they have great chemistry,
Yeah.
and I watch it. I watched the whole thing late last night. But let's take the literal conclusion to what Charles suggests should happen. Let's say somebody on the Pelicans decided, that's enough, I'm gonna deck him.
Right.
And he he punches Draymond in the face and just cold cocks it. What would happen to said player?
Oh, he's going to be gone at least 30 games.
Okay, he's going to be gone for the rest of the playoffs and a good bit of next year.
Absolutely.
Half of next year. I don't know. Ron Artest, once upon a bad time, went up in the stands, as we know, the malice at the Palace.
Yes.
And he went after a fan, but he wound up being suspended for 86 games. And the current commissioner is not that commissioner, but I'm pretty sure he would come down real hard on
Even
this.
Steven Jackson got suspended for about 30-plus games.
He
Jermaine
did.
O'Neal.
Oh, you got that right. So, who is Draymond? He's an instigator.
Yeah.
He's mostly a talker.
Rodman-esque.
Yeah. Somewhat Rodman-esque. He's probably a little more sly than Dennis.
Yes.
And what he is to me is a more subtle and skilled and talented Lance Stevenson.
Yes.
He's got some Lance in him, except he's just a better player. Right. Obviously, he's a triple-double waiting to happen. But he's more subtle to what he does. He's more pointed. He's more whisper in your ear. He's just trying to distract you from what you do.
Right.
Is he a cheap shot artist? I think not. I don't see him cheap shot. You want to talk about the ultimate cheap shot artist? It's that Zaza cheap shot on his bench, right? That guy's a cheap shot artist.
Well,
that's the only reason he's in the league.
But you remember, Skip, Draymond for about 3 years thought he was a Rockette. So every time he shot a jumper, he was kicking people.
Yeah, he was. I'll give you that. But I still don't think of him as a dirty
No.
player. I just don't.
He plays the game hard.
Chris Paul can go borderline gray area where I'm thinking, God, that looks a little dirty to me. That looks like a low blow to me. Not that Draymond didn't go low blow before. But in the end, look, Charles, let's just do it this way. Charles at age 28, which is Draymond right now, if they met, so to speak, this is hypothetical, I'm not trying to suggest that they should or would, but if they met, I think Charles would whip Draymond if they were both 28 years of age.
Right.
Because Charles was, not that he was mentally tough, but I think he was a physically tough guy, and he went about 6'5"-ish, 250-ish maybe.
Probably 6'4"-ish.
Yeah, maybe 6'4"-ish, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Draymond's 6'7"-ish, maybe 2-3 inches taller.
Yeah.
But the point is, to Joy's point, I'm not suggesting I want that to happen. But this is Charles. This is just vintage Charles because he is knee-jerk emotional. He's just going to spill. And if I may slightly personalize this, Charles has said about me many times on national TV, I would like to kill him. Yeah. The word is kill, the operative word, K-I-L-L. So many times we have asked Charles to come sit right here and explain to me face-to-face why he would like to kill me. And, of course, I'm going to respond to whatever he says. And Charles has, through his network, declined every time. So I'm still open. I'm like Draymond in my own way. I'm saying I'm here. I don't want to, I don't want you to punch me in the face. I'm not going to punch you in the face, but I'd like to talk about it. And he hasn't accepted the invitation, which remains open.
Man, I ain't all that talking, man. I ain't got time for all that talk, all that tongue wrestling. I ain't about all that. And people that talking about
wait a second, you were only the greatest trash talker in the history of pro football.
I was talking about getting the guy's head. I wasn't talking about fighting. Because if you got to talk about fighting, you ain't about fighting.
That is true. I will buy that.
So when if you're going to do something, you just roll up on somebody. Oh, what? Bam. That's what. So all that going around and around and this and that, going back and forth. But my thing is, Skip, Charles Barkley's been retired 20 years. And to say if he wants to say back in the day when I was playing, guys that played like a Draymond, we hard fouled them. And we put a stop to all that foolishness. And they did. I mean, that was a tough era. I was watching highlights of Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas was literally boxing people. He was swinging at people's heads when he played. Isaiah would have spent 2 years out of the league because if he were to do that, if a guy were to do what Isaiah and what those guys were doing back then, Skip, they'd done away with that.
It was a whole different ball game.
And
that's why, just a quick reference to last night, Kevin Love, late in the game, got called for the elbow, which accidentally, I don't think he intended to catch DeMar in the, right in the jaw, and he hit him flush. But back in the day, Shaq on Inside the NBA afterward defended him because he said, we're taught not to swing the elbow, but to swing your body to protect the basketball because he's fighting for a loose ball, right? You could say he walked with it, but I don't think he had control of it yet. So just me, the game I grew up sort of learning through the 80s, that doesn't get called, man. No. That's just an accident.
Skip, think about Dikembe Mutombo used to get the ball and have his elbows out like this here and come around and was catching people.
And if you happen to get in his way, it's on you.
I bet you won't try to reach in and take it anymore. But I just believe Charles stepped across the line. I get what they do. And like you said, they do a wonderful job. But you can't make it personal. You can't interject yourself into that situation and say, I want to do that to that person.
Yeah, I'm with you. Bottom line, to me, if I can translate what Charles is saying, back in his day, we would have taken that guy out with a hard foul. We would have gotten very physical with him, maybe a cheap foul, one that you'd say is borderline, one that they would call today a flagrant foul.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you up out of the game.
But it's bad. You gotta be careful saying it so literally. No mercy. Baker Mayfield was the #1 overall pick by the Browns, but he reportedly could have gone to New England. The Athletic reports the Patriots tried to schedule a visit with Baker before the draft, but he declined because they didn't have a high pick. Josh McDaniels then told a member of Baker's camp that the Patriots were considering trading up to the #2 pick, and then Baker finally agreed to meet with them. Shannon, do you believe the Patriots were serious about trading up for Baker?
I do not. And this was I was skeptical of, Skip, because this does not fit the profile of what Coach Belichick normally does in the draft. Normally, if he has multiple picks, especially in the first round, we've seen it happen before. 1 year, they got taken away because of Spygate. But normally what he does, he will move back to acquire more picks. He's more of a quantity guy as opposed to a quality guy. It really makes no sense when you look at it, Skip.
So you don't think they were going to do
that? No, because here's the reason why, Skip. He would have basically had to give up his entire draft for a guy that's not going to help him this year or maybe not even next year. So this is what he did, he stayed pat. He got Isaiah Wynn, lineman, probably going to start. Sonny Michel, running back, versatile. Dion Lewis, probably going to start. So this is why it makes no sense. Also, Skip, do you know the compensation? Now, Washington, to get RG3, they moved from 6 to 2. They gave up 2 first-rounders and a second-round pick just to move up 4 spots. You go from 23 to go all the way up to 2. You giving up both of those first-rounders, both of those second-rounders, possibly.
Maybe another pick.
Maybe even next year's second-rounder. Because if they gave up, look what Carson Wentz, what did the Eagles give up to get Carson? They swapped picks, then they gave a second, a third, a fourth to move up 6 spots. So that's to move up 6 spots. That's to move up 4 spots. And you think you're going to be able to move up 21 spots? Skippy took his entire draft. And I don't believe Coach Belichick would be willing to do that on a player that's not going to do him any good for the next year, maybe 2. So this is why I think this was a smokescreen. But I tell you what, I got a sneaky suspicion. I could be wrong. Jack Mills, and he represented a lot of some of the Broncos.
Well,
I think he's based in Colorado. Skip. Jack Mills probably going to do business again with the New England Patriots. Do you actually think he would have said this if he wasn't given the green light to say, go ahead and put this out there? How many agents you know we had something working behind? And name a team. Joy, I don't think that's me or your business, so I ain't going to say no more about it.
So what's your gut feeling? No?
No.
My gut feeling is yes. Because they asked Baker Mayfield to come to Foxborough so they could meet him up close and personal, spend a little time with him, get to know him. And he said no because I'm not going 23rd in the first round. And I don't blame him for that.
Right.
He didn't want to take another trip, a long trip up to New England, just for nothing. And they came back and said, hold the phone here because we're thinking about going to get you at 2. And if you're there at 2, we'll take you at 2. Will you come meet us now? And he said, yeah, I'll do that. So he flew to Foxborough and spent time with Belichick and company, with Josh McDaniels, maybe met Mr. Kraft. I don't know. I assume he would. And why would that be if you weren't seriously interested in trading up to 2? Well, sometimes in the old days in this league, going back to the Gil Brandt era in Dallas, there was this whole idea of bringing in quarterbacks you might have to compete against just to check them out, get into their heads a little bit, see what they're made of, so that you can better game plan against them or know their tendencies, their sort of psychological tendencies. Would they go to that length just in case he wound up with the Jets? Maybe. Maybe. Here's why I think they were fascinated. Who sat here the day after the national semifinal and said, I'm taking that kid number 1? Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss was the offensive coordinator for Bill Belichick when Tom Brady fell out of heaven into their laps and they won a Super Bowl, right?
Won 3 of them.
He won 3. And I'm pretty sure they stay in touch. And I'm pretty sure Charlie Weiss told Bill Belichick at some point over the last couple of months, Bill, this kid's something now. This is the kid that old school coaches call, you know this old expression, forgive me if it offends anybody, but he's full of piss and vinegar. Have you heard that before? Because that's what Baker Mayfield, that's what they say. That kid is full of piss and vinegar.
Well, Skip, why not just go ahead and move up to
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
He's a fighter.
Yes.
He's an extreme competitor.
Yes.
He's extremely confident and full of himself to the point he will trash talk anybody. And I believe Bill Belichick said that's the kind of kid who has the fortitude and the makeup to replace Tom Brady, because it's going to take a rare human being to be able to step into those shoes.
It's going to take
and I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield can be better than Brady or even get close to being as good as Tom or great as Tom Brady's been. I'm just saying he could survive the onslaught of trying to replace him. And I think Belichick said, that's my guy. I'm going to go get him at number 2. And it would have taken a boatload.
Everything, all his picks in this draft and maybe a few in next year's draft.
Okay. Do I believe the war is over between Belichick and Brady? No. I do not. And did you hear the shots fired that we talked about yesterday from Brady back at Belichick? A little bit between the lines, but as I said yesterday, for Brady, that was like drop the mic, right?
Yes.
By his standards, that was scathing.
Right.
And he indicated he wasn't happy, he wasn't appreciated. And the war, to me, is escalating because I think he heard from his sources within the organization that they were trying to go get Baker Mayfield to once again fast-track Tom Brady out of town, where he was going. If he wants to play until his middle 40s, he's going to have to finish, in Belichick's view, someplace else. Right?
Yeah.
Okay? So he's furious at it. He's feeling less appreciated than ever. And yet, to me, Belichick is not he's not waving any white flag here. He's still fighting back. So he would have loved the move of getting Baker Mayfield and giving up his draft, because then that gives Tom Brady no more help for next year, right?
Do you believe Cleveland would have been able, if they say, okay, we'll give you our two picks, 23 and 31, our 2 first-rounders, we'll give you next year's number 1 for the right.
To go to Cleveland?
Yes, to go up to number 1.
I don't know. It seemed to come out of left field late in the process
Right.
that Cleveland was leaning Baker Mayfield.
Right.
And it's possible that the Josh Allen information, the old 16-year-old tweets, you know, when we talked about it last week, back in his high school days, it could have swung them back in Baker Mayfield's corner.
Right.
Maybe. So maybe Belichick's intel is that they're going to go Josh Allen and they're going to leave Baker Mayfield for whoever. Yeah, and so you could go to 2.
Right.
Now, were the Giants that sold? What was Gettleman's line? Saquon's been touched by God?
Yes.
Was that the line?
Something like that, yeah.
Touched by God? Or was that after you got him, or did you think that before you drafted him? I don't know. But the point is, would they have given up the shot at Saquon?
For
all that?
If you're going to give up 2 number 1s, 2 2s, absolutely. Saquon, okay, yeah. Yeah, they giving him
Thanks,
up.
but no thanks.
Yeah.
I would too. That's what I would do.
But my question to you is that, do you believe there was a package that the Patriots could have put together that could have enticed the Browns to let them go to the number 1 slot?
Nope. I just think it would have taken too much. I could be wrong about it, but again, Cleveland desperately needed to score with the quarterback.
Yes.
And if they fell completely in love with Baker Mayfield, then God bless them. That's what they should have done at any price.
I would have. Because here's the thing, Skip. If you let them go to 1 and you get their 2 1s this year, their 2 2s, and maybe, let's just say they don't give you next year's number 1, they give you next year's number 2. You're still in the 4 slot. So you still got an opportunity to get a quarterback because, yeah, granted, Baker Mayfield might have been number 1 on their board, but it's hard for me to believe, because we didn't hear anything except the last week, Skip, that he was head and shoulders above everybody that was on the board at the quarterback position.
Maybe.
So you could have gotten a quarterback.
You could have gotten Josh Allen at 4 if that's who you love.
Yeah, you know? But just think, now you got 23, you got 31, and they had 2 number 2s also. So now you got 4 2s, 3 1s, 4 2s, and maybe next year's 2.
Maybe we'll hear something eventually from the Giants side,
right,
that this package was on the table hinging on who Cleveland took number 1. Like the package to the Giants from the Patriots was on the table.
So the Giants going to leak information that, yeah, there was a deal in place for the Patriots to move up, and it seems like they were going to go move up to get Baker Mayfield. Tom Brady going to walk in Coach Belichick off and say, can't believe you do something like that.
I don't think Tom Brady has that in him.
You see how he be dropping them F-bombs? Tom, that's Psycho T. You told me he's psycho. He might go crazy on it. Okay, maybe he'd hit with hit him in the gut or something.
Maybe, I don't know. I just feel in my heart of hearts that this was a possibility, again, depending upon Cleveland.
Right.
And Cleveland went Baker Mayfield, and now it's all history, but I think Tom Brady knows it was a distinct possibility.
At some point in time, Tom's going to have to draw a line in the sand.
Yep.
Coach Belichick keep drawing his line.
He does.
And he getting closer and closer to Tom. At some point in time, Tom Brady say, I ain't backing up anymore. I ain't backing up.
Can you imagine Baker Mayfield sitting behind Tom Brady? Baker is the kind of kid who would trash talk Tom Brady. He would. He would start verbally going at Tom Brady. Trust me, that's what he's made of.
Like, oh, yeah. Oh, you think you don't want to make that throw? Yeah. Oh, watch this.
Watch this.
Yeah. Oh, he'll be competing against Tom in practice.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Ooh, that would have been something.
Wouldn't have been amazing?
Drama.
No mercy.
The Steelers drafted former Oklahoma State quarterback Mason Rudolph in the 3rd round, but Ben Roethlisberger is still the starter. Rudolph was asked if Ben will mentor him and said, quote, "It's not Ben's job to teach me anything, it's my job to learn." Roethlisberger was then asked when he may turn the team over to Rudolph and said, "He can take over someday, but I plan on playing for 3 to 5 more years. If he's going to be their guy, that's great, but in my perfect world, it's not going to be for a while." We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Welcome, Greg. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
But first, Shannon, what do you make of these comments by Ben?
Ben loves to stir up drama, and he keeps some bull jive going. he's starting to sound more and more like Brett Favre, because this is what he said in January of 2017 after they lost the AFC Championship game to the New England Patriots. He said, I'm going to take the offseason to evaluate, to consider all options, to consider my health, my family, and things like that, and just kind of take some time away, evaluate next season, if there's going to be a next season. That's what he said in January of 2017 after the loss. Now, this year he was a little bit more committal, says, I would like to play another 3 years, but I'm not going to look past 1 year. They draft a quarterback in the third round, and all of a sudden, now I want to play 3-5 more years, Skip. Mm-hmm. Whoa. That's not what you've been saying. Mm-hmm. You said, you didn't know if you were going to come back. You didn't know what you were going to do. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how all of a sudden, because Landry Jones is no threat. Josh Dodson from Tennessee is no threat. I might kick back. I might come back, might not, Joe. I might go fishing. I got these 3 boys I got to raise. I need to be a dad. I need to go to some football games and all that. Mm-hmm. They go get a quarterback. They're like, okay. Because we getting tired of you every year. You talking about you don't know if you're going to come back. Yeah. 1 year you're going to say you're not coming back, and you're going to be absolutely right, because the door going to be closed on you. So, Ben, stop with the drama. If it's not your retirement, it's an injury that never got reported. They said Ben was a big old drama queen, and I ain't want to believe it. Man, you talk about LeBron's drama. He ain't got nothing on Big Ben. Big Ben, way more drama.
I don't.
Way more drama.
You went a little far there. I was with you up to that point.
When LeBron says, you know what, guys, I don't know if I'm going to play next year. I'm going to evaluate it after next year. Yeah, then we start talking.
Look, this is the only quarterback in the league that is one of the elite quarterbacks that constantly talks about retiring. Yep. The only one. And now all of a sudden, I can play until my early 40s. Well, number one, I'm going to touch that. Ben Roethlisberger, out of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, is the least likely to play until his early 40s because of his style of play. His style of play won't afford him the opportunity to even play that long because he's constantly getting hit. He extends the play a little too long at his age. And don't get me wrong, he's a great quarterback, but his style of play will prohibit that. Now, when it comes to Mason Rudolph being drafted, I'm with you, Shannon. Like, don't let somebody being drafted fuel you. You should already be driven. Yeah. You should already be committed to us. Regardless of who we pick up in the draft, let me know that you're in. My issue with Ben Roethlisberger is he's constantly a roller coaster. And we talk about what a quarterback should be and how they should act on and off the field and how they should present themselves. Some of the things that Ben Roethlisberger says and the way that he carries himself, I question it. Like, how can you constantly, every single week, follow this guy? Again, he's a great quarterback, but he's too inconsistent. Last year, first they played the Jags, and I don't know if I got it anymore.
Maybe I don't have it anymore.
Maybe I don't have it.
Okay, we coming at you, Skip. You remember the national anthem? Oh, we coming out united. Well, I ain't want to do that.
Exactly. Nobody needed to know that.
I wanted to run a play, and I wanted to clock it. Well, the coaches told me not to clock it.
What was that about?
It's always like
it's never his fault.
Of all the quarterbacks and the elite, these Rodgers and Brady's and the Breezes and him, he's the one that keep this foolishness going. He keeps the bull jive going.
And by the way, he's the one who threw the interception that ended the New England at Pittsburgh game.
Exactly. Right? But it was the play before those, Skip, because he wanted to clock it.
I got it. So my first point is I watched Mason Rudolph a whole lot at Oklahoma State, and he's pretty good. I'll give him pretty good. Joe Klatt and I said that he was a dark horse Heisman candidate last year, and he kind of crept along the edge of the race all year, and he had a good year. He had 37 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions. But if the Pittsburgh Steelers really loved Mason Rudolph, would they have waited until the third round? Now, they traded up 3 spots to get him in the third round, but do you realize they took his receiver at Oklahoma State in the second round? Well, if they loved him, if they thought he was the near future, don't you think they would have taken him in the second round, or dare I say the first round? Because they took Terrell Edmonds in the first round. I'm like, and everybody said that was a reach. That was too high for him. So why don't you take the quarterback? If you love him, if Ben Roethlisberger should be threatened by him, then at least he would have been the second-round pick as opposed to James Washington. And I love James Washington. As we talked about, he's got this weird, subtle gear of deep speed that doesn't time well. He just gets by people. He runs by people, and trust me, they gave Ben a new toy. That's going to be again, they traded Martavis, but you don't think with Juju on top of Antonio and my God, they got weapons everywhere.
Great job.
He's got an array, man. So it's a good place to be, but he is showing more and more a lack of leadership. And maybe that's why, in the end, he keeps losing to Tom Brady, dare I say? Because they just can't beat Tom Brady, right? So now he's going Tom Brady by saying, I'm going to play 5 more years, right?
Everybody. Once Tom started saying, I'm going to play until my 40. Everybody.
Drew Brees, I'm going to play. Yeah.
Quarterback in his first year, I think I'm going to play until I'm 43. Dude, you just got in the league.
Yeah.
Maybe he can get Alex Guerrero to get
he
inside
needs Alex Guerrero.
the facility.
And by the way, I'm going to bring this up one last time because it applies to everything you just said about the punishment he takes. But as Joy well knows, once upon a time, a long time ago in Pittsburgh, he had a motorcycle wreck with no helmet on in which he went over the hood of the car. And I don't know how he walked or limped away from that.
Right.
But I'm still here believing it took 2 years off his NFL career because he had multiple internal injuries.
And the style of play is going to take some more years off him.
Yeah.
Because you can't hold on to the ball that long and give the defense extra shots at you. The really good ones, Rodgers can play that long. I mean, not Rodgers, but Brady, because Brady gets rid of the football. He's not extending the play. He's not going to have people hanging on him.
He is the polar opposite of what this guy does, right?
When I read this and it says he was asked when he would turn over the team to Mason, like it's like he took the bait.
Yeah,
he did.
Like to your point, he was drafted in the 3rd round. Like obviously,
that's a
if they
question
really
you shrug off.
if they really exactly. A great quarterback, one who understands and has been through the ringer when it comes to being questioned and asked different questions, would say, I'm not concerned about that. I'm focused on me. It's the offseason. He wouldn't even have addressed it.
He's not beating me out. Why am I worried about it?
Exactly.
I got 16 years of experience doing this. Won Super Bowls, been many times a Pro Bowl player, and I'm worried about a 3rd-round pick. They got to learn the offense that I already know.
Yeah.
But this is Ben. Ben keeps some bull jive going.
Yeah, he does. But do I think Mason Rudolph could eventually replace him? I'm not even sure of that. I'm not sure he's that big a threat. And I liked Landry Jones when he played at Oklahoma, but he was no Big Ben.
What are they going to do with Josh, the guy from Tennessee?
I don't know.
They keeping 4 quarterbacks?
I don't know.
No.
No threat.
Maybe Ben is out. No, I'm just
Wow. You are absolutely right, though. He's not going to. Brady's inspired everybody.
He has.
Although you're right, maybe the Steelers will let Alex come down.
No, Brady vetoed that.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Garoppolo tried to get treatment for his shoulder.
And he wouldn't let Alex?
Did he?
Yeah.
He locked the door on him?
Yeah, you know, look at Skip. Look at him laughing. Look at him laughing. You proud of that, too,
That's so petty.
Yeah, it is. He petty like that.
Why are you keeping him from getting extra work?
Why would he do that, Skip?
If you're not on my side, you can't have what I got.
The man showed a bum.
Alex Guerrero's got his hands full. He's got Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski,
Yeah.
and that's enough.
The man had a shoulder. That's a teammate. I mean, if I got a dog, my guy good, and Greg got an ankle injury, we play the same position. I ain't gonna be like,
Seems like Tom Brady's petty like that. Greg, thanks for joining us.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports, one of one.